Six-Star Edition News has been brought to you by someone other than I've got in front of me here, so that is it for us. We'll be back shortly with more.
Artificial anything.
Diane Kennedy, today it was a great day for building snowmans of President Nixon. What's it going to be like tomorrow?
Well, it looks like more of the same, maybe 1 or 2 more inches tonight.
It rained a little bit late tonight, so we probably will be joining the CBS movie In Progress, so let me tell you about it. You haven't missed a thing. It's called... Well, there are mixed reactions from labor leaders to the Nixon administration efforts to win organized labor support for the devaluation of the dollar. It would appear that the Northville State Hospital is the scene of a scandal tonight. State Auditor General Albert Lee has released an audit of the hospital which shows employees there removing money from patient accounts to buy clothes the patients had little use for. So, I think the Major League Baseball season, if memory serves me correct, and it usually doesn't, but anyway, I think it starts April 1st, and still no word on when the association and the Major League owners are going to get together, so there may not be a spring training, which should be interesting. A 33-year-old St. John's man stopped to help shepherd a stranded motorist on North US 27 in Clinton County yesterday afternoon. I plead the fifth. The answer might incriminate me. Burke says nearly 10 tons of marijuana was confiscated, along with a kilo of heroin, 3 airplanes, several trucks, and cars. I realize I've lost all credibility in Tinseltown after last night, but let's try it again. Tonight, CBS. But at a White House briefing today, the director of the Cost of Living Council, John Dunlop, and Treasury Secretary George Shultz denied that the wage guidelines would be any different than they were under Phase 2. First year, Buick built 16 cars, increased its production to 37 cars in 1904. And finally tonight, if you own one of Michigan's $1.4 million trucks, let me try that again. There are 1.4, but they're trucks and not dollars. But if you own one, it may be news to you that your license plates expire at midnight. There's nothing like getting some potato chips and a few things like that, and listening to Tim Stout's Report on Sports.
The show has a lot of class, and it's also brought to you
like the guy giving it.
by Draft Brew Blatz, America's great drinking beer since 1851.
What are you doing here? About ready to sneeze. Go on camera. Well, I would say turn it over to Tim Stout, cook at the start of a 3-day NCAI meeting in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm Ralph Allen, TV6 News. Hostages released at Wounded Cree, South Dakota, but they're still being held in the Middle East. And the 11 hostages held by raiding Indians at Wounded Tree, South Dakota, have been freed. Correction, in our lead story, it's Wounded Knee rather than Wounded Tree. We'll be back with more news after this message. They're throwing suggestions around here that we cut the weather altogether, and I just throw up a slide and read what they need to know in 30 seconds. Under discussion, plans for implementing President Nixon's decentralization policies in Ingham, Eaton, and Clinton counties. TV. When most people hear the rhetoric of environment cleanup today or suffer tomorrow, there is usually little dissent. That's the environmental rhetoric we're talking about CNS advocates circulating anti-gasoline petitions during. The head of the Federal Communications Commission has proposed that Congress repeal the equal time provision. Committee representing the American Medical Association today said the diet recommendations in the book are unscientific. It stars Audie Murphy and Bill Malden. Secretary of State Richard Oskin took the Shell Oil Company to task today for a 14-year-old Colombian boy has been ordered home after storing away on an airliner that landed in Miami. Reportedly have arrived at the China-Hong Kong border for release. The committee says it wants to have more information on President Nixon's timing of her appointment. Mrs. Farkas is recorded as having made a $300,000 contribution in Nixon's campaign in January and February. That is TV6 Simon-Off News for this morning. I'm Ralph Allen. Tom Ray reports the news at noon. We'll see you tonight at 6 o'clock, Six-Star Edition. Good morning. The small town of DeWitt is finding itself embroiled in a controversy not unlike those which have in the past been reserved for larger urban areas. Well, to say that our attitudes toward many social ideas and mores are changing is something less than a startling revelation. Abortion, though still strongly opposed by some, is now legal. Yes, all sorts of funny things going on here. On a more positive note, the American Meat Institute reports the wholesale price of beef is going down. We have the weather coming up now with Diane Kennedy. It's part of the program that we all look forward to. Diane's first full day of spring. I said that at 6 o'clock, but I can't think of anything to say now. Is tomorrow going to be as well? The CBS late movie is next. You know, tonight's movie sounds pretty good, called The Black Scorpion. It's a suspense film starring Richard Denning, a story of a terrifying individual being discovered in New Mexico. I don't even know. This doesn't read right, but it's a very good movie, I've been told, and here it is. Thus allowing the use of more foreign oil in the face of any domestic shortage. And the Lansing Metro spot. The U.S. Weather Service says a slower than normal melt has reduced the flood threat on the Grand and Red Cedar rivers. The service said both rivers are expected to crest later this week, and it concerns the Red Cedar River. Dickinson, Iron, Menominee, and Gogebrick counties. It's all right with Mitzi. I'll tell you that I'm Ralph Allen, TV6 News, and we've got stories about more POWs coming back to Clark Air Force Base and tax relief petitions being delivered to the Secretary of State's office. That's coming up on the news. But now that the weekend is here, we certainly expect great things, and we know we're going to get it. Right, Diane?
Uh-oh. I know I'm in trouble.